Hi, my name is Jason Perry, and I'm going to be talking with you about recognizing the barriers to paternal involvement and giving you some strategies for overcoming them. The strategy or the topic that we're going to be dealing with today, or the barrier that we're going to be addressing today in this session, is that of staff ambivalence. As a staff person, you are on the front line in this important job of engaging fathers and empowering fathers to be better engaged within their families. Your interactions with and your expectations for your father clients will be determined by and reflected in your own mindset. Any ambivalence that you have about paternal involvement and engagement will come through in your interactions with those fathers. So, what we're talking about now is how do we overcome, or how do you overcome any issues of staff of ambivalence in your own mind or even within your fellow co-workers. During any safety demonstration on an airline flight, the attendants will instruct you to put on your own mask first before attempting to help someone else. This admonition applies in this setting as well. It simply means that you cannot help someone else, or in order for you to help someone else, you must first engage in your own self-examination and reflection. Because if you are having issues in your own life, it is possible those issues might affect your professional performance. So I just want to mention two ways that you can do that. In terms of this, two ways that you can engage in self-examination and reflection. That is searching for implicit, that's the first thing, is to search for implicit and explicit biases. Implicit biases are those underlying attitudes or beliefs or stereotypes that affect our understanding and our actions and our decisions. And the danger of implicit biases is that they operate on a subconscious level, but they impact us. They impact our conscious behaviors. And so if we fail to admit the reality that we have these unconscious bias, that we have negative attitudes internally that may impact what we do in our lives and our relationships, then if we don't admit the reality of those biases, their impact will continue unchecked. Sometimes those behaviors or those biases are not implicit, they are explicit. In many instances, a staff person's negative experiences with men, with fathers, with husbands in their own lives, with partners in their own lives, have hindered them from encouraging mothers, their clients, to include fathers in the life of the child. I can think of a number of examples, but two really big ones immediately jump out at me. In past trainings, I've had staff people who were very vocal, violently vocal, in their opposition to being instructed to engage fathers. They would later tell me that they were both going through some personal issues of a bad divorce, and in one case a bad divorce, in another this staff person was raising a child alone after being abandoned by her husband. And they resented my saying that fathers were necessary or important in the life of the child. And so let me say something about that. I'm going to come back to that story in a second. But I made this following statement when I did the training on gatekeeping mothers, but it is just as applicable to gatekeeping staff members. And it bears repeating here, and it's this. Promoting paternal involvement is not a zero-sum game. It's not a zero-sum game. In other words, speaking of the importance of fathers is not making a negative statement or diminishing the importance of mothers. And I believe that that is what both of these staff people were hearing because of their personal circumstances. What they were hearing was me saying that fathers are important, you must be saying that mothers are not, or how can you say fathers are important when I'm the one doing the work? And what I wanted them to understand very simply was that promoting paternal involvement is the acknowledgement that the presence of an engaged, healthy father or male role model brings some positive benefits to both the life of the child and the mother. That being said, it does not mean that the mother is not important. And that's what they were hearing. And so when these two staff persons recognized how their implicit bias was affecting their external or their explicit behavior, they both changed. And as a matter of fact, when they recognized how their behavior was negatively impacted, or their attitudes was negatively impacting their ability to do what was best for their clients, they both made some dramatic shifts, and they are now their agency's most supportive and most vocal advocates for promoting paternal involvement. And that leads me to my last point. I'm going to go back here. Yeah, there you go. Seeking healing, which is this. Seeking healing from personal trauma. Seek healing from personal trauma that impacts your personal and professional life. Pain becomes trauma when you have not healed from it. It follows you through life. And unhealed pain becomes infected. Unhealed and infected pain becomes gangrenous, which will eventually lead, can be very easily become deadly. So again, think about how your personal life is impacting your professional life. Examine yourself, put your own mask on first before you attempt to someone else. We trust that these tips are helping you in your efforts to increase your capacity to reach fathers. Thank you for your efforts.